Ha 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 ha. Otsukaresama desu. Welcome back to Shitake News. I'm glad to have you here. Just me and late night hours talking nonsense. No, talking about the news. I'm actually really cheerful today. For two reasons. One, PewDiePie's back, but I'm not going to put his name in the title. I don't want the focus to be on him. And two, Big Mac has Gigamax. Or McDonald's has Gigamax. But they only give you 50 cents off with the coupon. But I'm still excited about them. I'm going to go try them tomorrow. And that's that for McDonald's news. Let's jump right into it. Today I have plenty of time. I don't have to work tomorrow. It's the 22nd on it's February 22nd on 2020. So there's a lot of twos today. I'm excited about that for some reason. It's like two across the board. And when it was 2:20 a.m., there was even more twos. So I have to wait until this afternoon to get a dozen more twos, or 6 more twos, or 3 more twos. Whatever. I'm gonna ramble. Sorry about that. First up, more guidance. Facebook. They're looking to get more guidance on how to regulate our speech. Again, somebody overstepping. Now, if they want to implement these new rules and guidelines, that's okay in other countries. But in our country, we have regulations and rules and limits that the government is supposed to protect. So, this seems fishy. I don't like how they're trying to go around the Constitution by not letting the government restrict your speech, but allowing these companies to restrict your speech. That is a no-go. I mean, I'm not telling you what to think, but in my opinion, I don't think that should be allowed. And also, Twitter is looking for ways to fight misinformation, including a community-based point system. Kind of sounds like the credit system China has going. But for Twitter is useful in a way, but there's a lot of misinformation out there. I don't like anybody regulating anything. The only thing that should be not regulated, but the only thing that should be kind of controlled or highlighted is opinion versus news versus fake news. And I have an idea for that one. If there is an article with fake news, the ads shouldn't pay out for that month. You don't get paid until the end of the month. So whenever the article goes up, whatever income that page generate, and trust me, they can keep track of it. Whoever's paying for it just won't pay. Most of them use Google ads or they have their own sponsors. Well, make it a law that you don't have to pay if the information is completely false, or if it's at least majority false. I'm pretty sure that'll keep the story more honest. But that's just my idea. In England, I believe, you can actually get arrested if you put harassing tweets or misgendering tweets. They can actually call the police and have somebody go visit your home. And I've heard about arrests happening and kids being left at home and whatnot. I don't want to live in a society like that. Let them enslave themselves to whatever government they feel like they're happy with. They have a king and queen, so they're probably used to it. But we Americans do not and will not abide by unlawful rules or anything that infringes on our Constitution. So, good old Mark Zuckerberg. He's done great things. I mean, Facebook itself is an amazing thing, but him trying to... it's tricky because I feel like he's trying to play both sides of the board. I think he knows the monster that is government deregulation, or not deregulation, but the government coming down on all these companies, how they impose people's speech. And I think he's trying to get ahead of it by saying, no, look, we're trying to fix it on our own. There's no need for you to come check us or investigate us. So this happened about a year ago when I started noticing him trying to make more visits. It used to be the young, wild Mark Zuckerberg to now I want to keep what I have, and I'm happy with what I have, and I have ambitions to do more. And I can't have him all go away because the government's going to regulate our company, and they're going to allow all all the speech to be free or whatever it may be. I hear they're censoring conservative speakers and personalities. I don't fall in any category, so I don't think that would ever apply to me. Not that there's much to censor, but I keep hearing that there's a bias, and I don't think there's a bias based on what like the company saying we have to get rid of these people. I think it's a bias because I've been to their headquarters. It's in the middle of a leftist, central. Anybody who works there probably lives there, and everybody who lives there is definitely a lefty, or not even a lefty. I can't even say that. They're like these weird sensitive type that take offense to everything, who introduce themselves not by their title but by what they want to be called. And you have to try to memorize whatever they or him or whatever title they decide to have for themselves. So I think the area where these companies are at are what make it what it is. So I see Mark Zuckerberg trying to get ahead of it, and I see Twitter implementing these new systems that are they just look like they're ready to be corrupted or ready to be abused for whatever reason. I don't like it. I don't like anything that censors. The only thing that should be controlled is whenever someone calls for violence. That's it. But keep an eye on it. Don't let them grow too big where you can't stop them. What should be allowed? Just the thought of somebody saying what you are allowed to say or hear kind of sets me off. Next news. Moving on. I'll take my time with these. It's Friday. I have plenty of time. Satisfaction in the U.S. is at a high. I think the last time it was this high was in 2005. Need more legal immigrants. There's 2 stories I put here, or 3. One is a story about the satisfaction in the U.S. How things are looking pretty good right now. People are happy. People are satisfied. They're in the pursuit of happiness, and they feel like they're getting results. So that's good news. In 2005, things were looking good. It's after the bubble popped, but still, things were still looking up at that then. We hadn't hit the recession till like 2008, I believe. So people are happy right now. His approval rating's pretty high. I think it's at like almost 50%, which is as high as it's ever been since it's as high as it was when he got elected. So I'm happy to hear he's getting credit for some of it. But keeping an eye on him. People are happy at their home. There's politics. There's viruses going around, but people they feel like they're earning more. They're saving more. And I got to admit, I'm not affected severely by the U.S.'s economy. But if the U.S. goes up, usually their closest partners tend to go up. So I've seen a lot of good results lately. They've taken care of vets, so they've helped even me out a lot. So I might be out of debt here soon for good. So I don't know. I don't know if it's him, but just him saying that things are gonna be better, I think that makes people optimistic and makes people work harder. When you're cheerful and you're motivated, you're producing results. And that another problem that came out is that immigration, our economy is growing and it's doing bad. It's doing good, and jobs are, everybody's working. But now there's not enough people, seems like. So they're going to boost the guest worker program. I think they're going to almost double it, which isn't a lot. It's like 100,000. But this government has never been against legal immigration from the get-go. Trump loves whoever comes over and is studying in the U.S., and then he's upset that they get shipped back home. He wished that whoever gets an education in the U.S. stays in the U.S. He'd like to keep all those ambitious people or all those intelligent or educated people. He'd rather keep them here than send them back home. So he's all for legal immigration. I hope once it seems like border security has improved a lot. It's gone down a significant number, almost to the point where it's no longer a crisis anymore. And the migrant caravans have seemed to been demotivated or stopped. So I hope his next project is trying to find a way to make it legal quicker, find legal ways for people to come over. If it was so simple, or if it was such a quick process, I think we would solve our immigration crisis, because people would see that it's cheaper to just get it done legally than to pay a coyote to bring you through through their shady methods. And I know the coyotes have done their service in a way for years and years, but those things are shady. God, they're shady. Even when you go pay them, there's no. They're so shady. I mean, I could only tell you stories about it, and even sometimes they don't deliver. Some of them just ditch you halfway because like, well, you paid money. Odds are you're not gonna get out of this place. Goodbye. They're just super, super dirty for the most part. Some of them do the right job, and you pay a lot on purpose for so they take care of you in a way. But if it was legal, or if it was cheaper or easier to get through legally, then all these problems would be gone. Why can't we have a quick and fast-paced legal system? Why can't those dreamers find a way to stay in the States and earn their way, or find a way to get legalized somehow? Or visitors or workers or anyone who wants to come here find a legal way to get through. I think hopefully that's his next step. This and Medicare or medical issues, I hope are his next goals. Whether he loves himself or he loves his country, I don't care really. I just want him to keep getting results, keep producing. So if that's his next goal, if he's striving to get more legal citizens here, or more legal immigrants here, then tip of the fedora to you there, gentlemen. But we'll see how things go. He needs a lot of support for big changes to happen, and doesn't seem like it's the right time right now. But who knows? But again, immigration is good. The more people we have here, the more we can grow. The more we can grow, the better we'll do. And I think it's a good idea bringing in more people. So I completely support doubling the worker program, and I completely support making legal immigration easier. Now these articles, I read them both, and they're pretty biased. They're trying to make it sound like all three of these things are negative things. Like, oh, it could have been higher. The guest worker program should be unlimited, or they're desperate for more legal immigrants since this government has been so anti-immigration, which is not true. They're just anti-illegal immigration. And satisfaction with the U.S. is at a 2005 before it all goes down. Like, all these articles are just painted in like a negative light. It looks like someone had a purpose. I'm just reading the facts. The facts look good to me. So keep it up. Next step that I really, really liked is first step towards peace in Afghanistan. The Taliban, of all people, or of all agencies or groups, are they signed. It's a step towards peace. They have a government, they have the Taliban, and then they have us. And the three of us are trying to get peace. There's a lot of money in wars, and I feel a lot of people who will never see war would like to continue wars. If I make something that makes a ton of money, but the only way I can sell it is if a war that doesn't affect me in any way aside from me making money, I'd probably want to continue it. But peace is always what we're looking for. Even Marines, we pray for war, but we're ready for peace. That's probably not how the saying goes, but that's generally the consent amongst most of us. Pray for war, but be ready for peace. So if peace is on its way, well, there's always another target, or there's always another enemy. So I'd like to get things settled in Afghanistan. Afghanistan is uncomfortable, and it's a god-awful place to fight. And I don't know why we can't pick a fight with somebody who has a nicer climate. But yeah, I didn't serve in Afghanistan. I didn't tour there. I toured in Iraq, which is, I imagine the weather's similar. Well, I mean, Afghanistan has a mountain, but that's all the here and there. I'm happy to see this. Peace is a good answer. There's other things we need to worry about. We're trying to get to the moon. We can't get there by attacking each other all the time for fun. So, yeah, this is great news. I'm glad to see this. I hope our cultures are very different, so it's still a long, long way. Even if there is a peace, even if we disarm each other, there's still a huge cultural difference between most countries. So peace is it's not an illusion, but it's far, far, far away. But this is a good step. I'll stop rambling on that. Next up, Ilhan Omar. She did marry her brother, apparently, says a Somali community leader. Now, this is her brother. Now, the question wasn't if she married this gentleman. The paperwork is there. They married each other. There's no doubt that these two individuals married one another. What comes into doubt is who he is. Is this gentleman her brother? Why live with her ex-husband, who they married through unofficial ways, and this cat, who they married through the official ways? Why were they all living together? There's a lot of questions to this. And this brings me back to the Twitter regulations and the Facebook, trying to regulate what you see. This was considered a conspiracy. This was considered fake news because there's no proof, and everything is fake news until it's proven. But now the FBI is investigating, and they're trying to say that this has a lot of truth behind it. There's a lot of facts that don't add up, and if they do add up, they add up in them being siblings, because she married him so he can go to school and get benefits. There's benefits that would have been allotted to him because they're brothers and sisters, but it would be easier if they just got married, because that would make the process a lot faster. And nobody knows they're brothers and sisters, so they figured, why not? And we can live together with my current husband and him together. And this cat is a very feminine gentleman. I'm not sure he's into traditional genders. I think he has a taste for different. There's pictures of him with makeup, which isn't always a clear sign, but there's a lot of indicators that this gentleman is not interested in you ladies, which that's fine. Which is why the husband, probably her first husband, probably didn't care that they got married. There's a lot of questions here. I think an investigation is more than called for. And if the whole point, who cares if they're married? Why are we electing individuals like these? Is this the best that area has? Is there not a local individual that's done more, that has better ideas? Nothing positive has come from electing her. Of course, she got divorced and she got remarried to somebody who's working for her. But squawking with the other, what's her name, Ocasio? Is that what she was elected for? Is that how she's useful to her people? Let her be investigated. Get rid of her. I'm not asking you to do that, but I'm just saying you're not getting anything out of this deal. What's the point of having her? If you want a young Muslim lady, that's fine. Find another. Find somebody else who's just as qualified as she is, but isn't corrupt or shady like she is. She might have lied. She's if they prove that she lied, that they weren't related, or that she married for benefits, or that all these questions come into light, and they find out that it's not true, then she's done. She has to resign or hide or whatever she may do. But this isn't an individual you want representing you. You can find better. You can find more. If you want somebody culture or color, you want to mix it up, that's absolutely okay. I endorse that idea. But why are you electing these corrupt individuals? Is there someone not corrupt that you can't find? A lot of questions I have for that area. But it's their choice. Freedom of choice is okay with me. I'm just wondering, what is it about her that keeps her there? There's a few of them that are just god-awful candidates. And if it was a Republican or Democrat, it doesn't matter to me. If they're corrupt, they need to be gone. Or they need to just not be in this position to begin with. Investigator, find out the truth. The truth is pretty hard to hide. So if they are related, they're going to find out. So good luck, FBI. I'm glad they didn't censor this information in the beginning. I'm glad somebody allowed this to air and it moved on to the next step. There's a lot of things that start off as conspiracy theories that end up being true. Do you remember when Trump said that his Trump Tower was bugged? And it was like, you're an idiot. Nobody's going to bug Trump Tower, especially during the election. And then come 2-3 years later, oh yeah, that did happen. Huh. Weird. Everything starts off as a conspiracy. Especially if people don't want you to know the truth. Like I get asked, oh, did you go to McDonald's today? No, that's fake news. That's a conspiracy. But, turns out that I did go to McDonald's because I love McDonald's. Anyways, that's it on her. That's about all I've heard about her. The investigation is going on. I'm not sure what's going to come out from this, but I hope it's not annoying that I keep moving the mouse around. But it does look like this gentleman is not particularly interested in ladies, and they might be related. We'll leave it at that. There's a lot of pictures. If you look at the article, you can see just an absolute ton of pictures, but I just wanted to show you this one. Next up, COVID-19. This is some news and updates and doubts. This is Anna. They're a Japanese flight company. Fantastic. Possibly the best airline in the world. I absolutely adore them. I fly about 4 or 5 times a month. And if every chance I can, I use Anna. Even if it charges an extra $10-20, Anna all the way. But we're not here to compliment these great airline. But to talk about China. Talk about the COVID virus. There's more than 500 new cases that have been detected in prisons across China. So prisons seem to be a hotbed. I don't see prisons being as well regulated or quarantined as well as hell, I don't see prisons being quarantined at all. Not in a sense that would be effective. So the prisons are probably going to get pretty bad here soon. And not just that, China seems to have a weird method of counting, because they announced that there was 300 new cases, in one day. But in one city alone, there was 500 new cases. So they're wondering, what metric is China using to count? If they say overall there's only 300 new cases, but this one city has 500 new cases, they're massaging numbers, from what it seems like to me. They have a reputation of massaging numbers. They're not proving. They're not giving you any facts. They're not giving you any hard data. I have my doubts. I don't believe. I don't believe the things they're saying. But all we can do is take their word for it for now, because they're not allowing a lot of information out. And even the methods they are using to contain this, they're leaving a lot of animals are dying. Wild animals, boars, raccoons, this and that. Not raccoons, but a lot of wild creatures are dying because the chemicals they're using are so strong that it's affecting the wildlife. I can only imagine what that does to people. And they're not giving clear details on what they're using, what they're spraying the streets down, what they're spraying down individuals or as they walk past. Their attempts have failed, and they're really panicked. And their panic makes me feel like there's more information that they're not releasing. And they won't release it for years to come once it's all said and done. And be like, oh, by the way, this was a lot worse than we said it was. And that's the only thing I'm worried about. Thankfully, some residents in the U.S. are people are back home are taking the initiative and quarantine themselves. They're staying home 2 weeks, calling in sick, using some of that time off, letting them know that I might have been in contact with somebody who's sick, so I'm going to quarantine myself for a few days. And if nothing happens, things are good, we'll move on. But it's better to be safe than sorry. I think that's a good idea. That's the only way this can be controlled is if people start taking measures into their own hands and start protecting themselves and trying to protect the people around them. If I feel ill or if I have a fever or something feels out of place, the best thing I could do for everyone is take time off, stay home for a few weeks. If I don't get a fever, nothing happens, nothing changes, I'm not coughing, my throat's not itchy, nothing's unusual, then I can move on with life. But don't risk it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it for your friends. It's not worth it for whoever you work with. It's not worth it for whoever you might interact with. Keep yourself safe. I'll probably take this image down and put up a nice map of all the current people who are sick around the world. So look out for that. I enjoy doing this. This is actually it's one of the highlights of my day. I work a full 9-10 hours, and then I come home and I do whatever house duties need to be done, take care of things that need to be taken care of, and I enjoy coming here and speaking. So if you have any tips or advice, I always welcome I'm not so set in stone that I have to do it exactly this way, but I'm having fun. Some of the news I read, though, keeps me up at night. And I'm not somebody who stays up usually. I mean, I'm not somebody who has trouble sleeping. I'm usually out like a light the second my head hits a pillow. But I'm not going over everything online. But there's a lot of news that generally worry me. And this one lately has been festering in my dreams often. Not only because I don't particularly trust governments, but because this one, how it was made, where it was accidentally released, possibly, where it might have come from, how many people are actually sick, what they know about it. None of this information is solid. None of this information is confirmed by multiple sources. It's just one source, a very controlled source. So, yeah, I have my doubts about it. And that we'll leave it at that. Take care of yourself. The best thing I can say. Even PewDiePie, who came back from Japan, he bought a ton of masks, and he shows them off as a joke, but I think he generally cares. So, if somebody who takes a lot of things lightly, and he tends to be funny, is taking it kind of seriously, you should probably consider buying some masks or at least enough supplies to last you a couple weeks. The quarantine, they say, is 24 days. So that's a number you got to keep in mind. How much food and how much water would I need to be completely comfortable for 24 days? And I'm not asking you to sell property or sell whatever and try to hoard as much cash as you can. I'm asking you to just, when you go shopping, try to buy things that are in can that will last you 24 days. Buy things that won't expire immediately. Veggies are great, but consider buying that canned veggie for once in a while. Just keep in the back of your mind. Keep it for your own comfort. If nothing happens, great. You just get to eat canned veggies for a few weeks, and then that's it. But I'd rather you take care of yourself and you have things at the ready. That's it for me tonight. Probably going to watch Sonic one more time because I really enjoyed it. Happy to have PewDiePie back. Take care of yourself in COVID-19 or COVID-19. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, whether in Spanish or Japanese or English. And have a good weekend. I'll probably have another video up this weekend, and they'll probably be longer because I have time and I don't need to wake up early. Have a good night. See you tomorrow. And it's 3:47 a.m. Have a good afternoon. Take care. Let's go, somebody. Do, 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 do.